to bring you this special news report.
Good morning, everyone. The siege of the Washington Monument has kept the heart of the nation's capital at a virtual standstill for 14 hours, and now apparently it's all over. The search for that reported second suspect inside the monument has so far turned up nothing, and the man identified still unofficially as 66-year-old Norman Maier is dead, shot twice in the head by police officers. 14 hours of fear ended in violence. The long siege of the monument began at 9:40 this morning when a white van pulled up to the monument's entrance door. A man jumped out dressed in a navy blue snowsuit and a black motorcycle helmet. He ordered those at the base of the structure to leave quickly. But at the top of the monument, 9 people remained trapped by the threat outside. That threat was given to the park ranger by the man in the helmet that he had 1,000 pounds of explosives in the van, which could be detonated any of 4 ways unless his demands were met. It would be hours before those demands were made public, but in the meantime, the busy streets around the monument grounds were closed off and traffic was routed far around the scene. Steve Comero, a young reporter for the Associated Press in the green jacket, was selected to talk with the man who demanded contact with the media. Comero made 3 trips up the hill leading to the base, and on the 4th, the man in the helmet allowed the 9 people trapped in the monument to go free. Shortly after, the man listed his demands that forums on nuclear disarmament be held in all public organizations and gatherings, a demand which followed the sign on his truck calling for a ban on such weapons. Through the evening, as darkness fell on Washington, the negotiations came to a halt. But at 7:35 this evening, unexpectedly, the van began to move, and the gunfire echoed across the mall.
Let's go.
The van overturned on the north side of the monument and lay on its side. Police entered the rear of the truck and began removing boxes, packages inside. At one point, they brought out what was believed to be the body of the man wearing the motorcycle helmet. Police say one of the 2 bullets which killed him hit him in the face. It's been a long 14 hours. Metromedia 5's James Adams is still standing by at the base of the Washington Monument. James, what's the scene now?
Well, Jackson, police are currently still searching for a possible second suspect. They have made their way to very near the top of the monument. By this point, they should finish their search within the next hour. They believe there may be a second man inside because one of the officers who was assigned to keep watch on the entrance into the monument believed that he saw a person go inside. However, when police checked their videotape of the incident, they did not see an individual go in, but they cannot be too sure, and therefore they're checking the building every inch of it, looking for explosives as well, which may have been planted inside. Earlier, we had understood that when the driver of the truck was shot, he was handcuffed to the steering wheel. We're now told that he may have been handcuffed by a ATF agent who says that he was alive at the time that he was initially shot, and they wanted to make sure that he was unable to move to detonate a bomb if he did in fact have one. They have thoroughly searched the van here on location. Their search did not turn up any explosives. They did, however, find some detonating devices. They have removed the van from this scene to continue their search, a more thorough search, to be absolutely sure that there are no explosives inside. So that's pretty much where things remain right now, Jackson. The search, again, for the possible second suspect goes on. We have not heard whether or not they have found a man or found any explosives, and we are just standing by to see if police will come over and give us any further details at this late hour.
So it's entirely possible, James, that 14 and a half hours ago, this man who's been tentatively identified as Norman Maier of Hollywood Beach, Florida, it's entirely possible that this man may have gone to the Washington Monument armed only with a piece of paper and a white van.
It appears that way. It appears as if it was a bluff. In talking to some people who showed up here at the scene later on, we understood that he was not the type of individual prone to violence, at least prone to hurt anyone. We were told that perhaps he got in the truck and tried to make good his escape, believing that police perhaps would not fire at him, realizing, or at least thinking at the time, that he did have explosives with him. He was apparently wrong.
James, the police now are cleaning up, finishing up the search down there. Washington is sort of a city of symbols all the way through. We have all of the monuments here, the Washington Monument, of course, being the most noticeable of all of them. You remember about 5 months ago, a young Vietnam veteran went into the Washington Monument and kept himself inside with a pistol, an old flintlock pistol in his hand, and threatened to kill himself in there because he was terribly unhappy about the Veterans Administration. Have police offered any suggestions, any kind of ideas? What would drive a person to go to this incredible extreme?
They only theorize, Jackson. People come to Washington all the time to make political statements. That apparently was the object of this man's protest. And again, reiterating the point about his not perhaps being prone to violence, it was the man who was threatening to blow up the monument that recommended that the people inside who were trapped leave. He did not realize that there were more individuals upstairs in the monument. He initially came and told everyone to leave, and when he had discovered that, it was upon his recommendation that a park ranger come up and escort them out. He was trying to make a statement. There's no way, I'm sure, that anyone can justify the means by which he attempted to do it, but as we had reported earlier, he did take part in several anti-nuclear protests in front of the White House. Apparently, he felt that this was one way that he could really get the message across. Demonstrations in front of the White House are very commonplace. They are sometimes covered once, sometimes not covered at all. And perhaps he was of the opinion that this was one way that he could really get the attention that he wanted, and felt very seriously about nuclear proliferation, the possibility of nuclear war, the MX missile currently being debated on Capitol Hill. He may have felt that this was the time to drive the point home, and he apparently felt this was the way to dramatize it.
James, we've just received word that now D.C. police have officially, as we've speculated all day long, called it tentatively, but now they have officially identified the man killed in today's siege at the Washington Monument as 66-year-old Norman D. Mayer of Miami Beach, Florida. So it is Norman D. Mayer, the man who was staying at the Downtowner Motel, the man who the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms people tracked through 4 separate states trying to buy dynamite, who ended up here in Washington, who had been staying here off and on over the last period of 8 months, and we know his identity. And in fact, he may have been alone and armed only with a piece of paper and a white van. 14.5 hours of fear in the nation's capital. Tomorrow, another normal day. That's Metromedia News for this evening and this special report. I'm Jackson Bain. Good morning.
We return you now to our regularly scheduled program.